have this saying in GIS that everything is somewhere. This definitely applies to the utilities industry. Location intelligence is essential for communications, water, electric, and gas utilities to manage complex networks that aim to maximize efficiency and minimize disruptions.
To help us understand how utilities of all sizes and types can fully leverage ArcGIS, we are joined by our friend and pal Jenny Fong. She is the team lead for the Utilities Technical Solutions at Esri Canada, and she joined us from Richmond Hill today. Hi, Jenny. Welcome to the podcast.
Thanks. Nice to see you too as well.
So, Jenny, let's get started with the most basic question for everybody. What is the ArcGIS Utility Network?
Yeah, so the ArcGIS Utility Network is the newest network management framework that Esri has created to support the various utility and telecom customers that we have. It actually provides utility companies with the ability to model, edit, and analyze the complex networks in a very highly responsive way, all while being able to access the data and the capabilities across our entire Esri ecosystem. So now the utility network actually uses a RESTful architecture. This has changed from what we used to have, which was a more database-centric solution, to now a more web-centric solution. And this means that you're able to interact with it as well as utilize the functionalities through a feature service itself. And this allows users to access the various functions like running traces, creating schematic diagrams, which we call network diagrams inside of the utility network. There's also the version management side of things, which we call branch versioning, as well as the validation services themselves. So all of these can be accessed through that REST endpoint and therefore be accessed via your desktop application like ArcGIS Pro, and on field applications like Field Maps, or even in web browser applications like Experience Builder.
Wow, so there's a lot going on there, and I'm sure there's a lot of people that were really interested in learning more about utility networks, but this might not necessarily be for everyone. So who would use the utility network?
Yeah, so essentially any utility customer dealing with electric, gas, water, wastewater, storm, or telecommunication systems, they would all be very good candidates for the utility network. And these customers that I've been talking to usually need to have that network connectivity and requires tracing analytics capabilities along with other functionality that the utility network actually provides. So a lot of these customers already use our legacy network management solution called the geometric network, and they should really be thinking about the utility network to be able to continue with the connectivity functionality that they're already using in the legacy system itself.
So, for people who are looking to start using a utility network or maybe move into that direction, what is required for them to actually get it up and running?
Yeah, so that's a great question. Customers that I've been talking to, understand that the utility network is kind of a new architecture. It's that, like I mentioned, that RESTful architecture. And so it does require a little bit more on the back end as well. And so we do require a supported version of ArcGIS Enterprise as well as an enterprise geodatabase. And then in order to manage and maintain and deploy your utility network, you do also need to utilize ArcGIS Pro. From there, in terms of licensing, you'll still need to have your same Esri user type licenses. And then you will also need to have the ArcGIS Advanced Editor editing user type extension to utilize all the functionality that comes along with the utility network.
That's really interesting. So I'm wondering if you're a utility client right now and see this new framework in front of you, when is a good time for these utility clients to be able to make the move to the utility network?
Yeah, so I get this question a lot from
Yeah.
customers. And every single person I talk to, my answer is always like today. You need to start planning for this today and start moving towards the new functionality and the new technology. The latest version of ArcMap and as well as the legacy network management solution that we have, the geometric network, is already moving into mature support as of March of this year. So, as we know, mature support means no more software updates, no more patches. or either certifications on new environments. So really, my answer to them is start now planning for that, so that when you're ready to move, you'll still be supported under the product lifecycle as well.
Yeah, it definitely seems like now is the time to go. And I think you covered it a little bit, but maybe you could help us understand even more. Why is it important for utility clients? Why should they be making this move?
Yeah, so aside from, ArcMap being in mature support, and the legacy network management system kind of coming out of support as like out of into mature support, one big thing is that people forget that, the geometric network is something that was created 20 years ago, right?
Mm,
So if you think about that, 20 years ago, we never had cell phones, we didn't have tablets, right? The requirements of 20 years ago, the geometric network worked fine for what the utility clients were looking to do. But now they're looking to be able to access the data faster, being able to access it anywhere and on any device. And then even being able to do things like provide tracing functionality to, let's say, your field crew or your field staff, so that they can do emergency management operations, or even providing, the current state of the system to, let's say, your engineering department, so that they can do future planning projects as well. All of this can be achieved through the utility network and that services-based architecture. And so that's why I believe clients should be moving to it sooner rather than later.
Right. So there's obviously some urgency in some point because we know that there is a time limit that's coming up. So, how do clients get started on this journey towards the utility network?
Yeah, so another great question that I get from clients as well. And we do understand that there is a lot of different things to think about when moving and transitioning to the utility network. And so that's why we have a whole bunch of different training courses that are available. We have services that are available by Esri Canada, as well as, being able to just playing with the software, right? Creating that kind of playground for you to actually use the new system, to understand it and the functionality it provides. And so what we have is that we've provided to clients some various ArcGIS solutions templates that people can actually start to deploy and look at today. These templates are available across the different types of utility domains that I was talking about. So we have some for electric, gas, water, wastewater, storm, as well as telecommunications. And we basically provide two different flavors. The first one is a full utility network solution, which we call the utility network foundation. Essentially, if you go, let's say, to the electric group inside of the solutions templates, it'll be called electric utility network foundation. If you go to the water one, be called water utility network foundation. And this foundation and this template actually provides you with, first off, sample data that you can start to play with. It provides you with a full-on file geodatabase that you can start using today with ArcGIS Pro. And then it also has information and steps in there in terms of how you can deploy it into your enterprise environment, as well as running various kinds of functionality, like your tracing, as well as doing edits on the system as well. The other template that we have for customers is, those customers who want to start thinking about moving towards the new technology, but not quite ready to move to the utility network. For these clients, we have something called the distribution data management solution. And essentially, this provides you a model that was built directly off of the utility network. So you get a model that's similar to the utility network, but it allows customers to either start collecting their asset data or continue to collect their asset information, so that when they are ready to move to the utility network, they will have a complete network information ready to go. Because as we know in GIS, data is king here, right? So we want to make sure that the data is complete and ready to go. So it also provides you with some pre-created applications, like dashboards, as well as field applications, to help you start collecting that data quicker and ready to and kind of get you ready to go from there. And before, as I mentioned, we have lots of training courses that are available. Not only do we have instructor-led courses, but we also have a lot of self-paced training courses that can actually help you on your way as well.
Wow, you've shared a lot of resources to help people get started. So there's definitely a wealth of knowledge out there, which is fantastic. Is there anywhere that people should go to look specifically for more information?
Yeah, absolutely. So the easiest place to go to is our website, right? You can enter into a browser esri.ca/un, and you'll be able to find a whole bunch more information about the utility network. But there's loads of webinars, YouTube videos, blog posts, and stuff like that that are available on the utility network topic, as well as implementations and so on. And one thing that I wanted to announce on this to make sure that everyone was aware is that on Wednesday, March the 20th, we are actually going to be having and hosting a webinar that will be part of our water series to talk about the rapidly changing requirements that utilities actually have and how we can actually move them towards that digital transformation with the utility network. So even though this webinar is kind of geared towards the water customers, the content and the concepts within them are applicable to across the board to all of the different types of utilities that we have as well. So keep an eye out for that, and please register for that as well.
Definitely, yeah. That's something I'm really interested in now because I feel like I know utility networks a little bit better. So, Jenny, we really appreciate you giving us this grand overview about what the utility network is all about. But we'd like to wrap things up by asking you to sort of summarize everything that we learned today with 3 takeaways our audience should know. So, what are those
Sure.
3 takeaways?
Sure. So, I mean, obviously, there's quite a lot of stuff about the utility network, but like in terms of the 3 takeaways from today, I would say that the utility network, the first one is the utility network is the path forward for our electric, gas, water, wastewater, sewer, and telecommunication customers who are looking to have a complex and connected model to be used as their network management system. Um, Next is you got to start planning now. That transition to the utility network should start now, and ensure that when the legacy geometric network is deprecated, that you have something to go to as well as kind of future proofing yourself. And then the last thing is that there's plenty of information everywhere. Like I mentioned, there are these fantastic podcasts that Maggie and Mark are making, as well as going onto the Esri channels for on YouTube, blog posts, the ArcGIS solutions templates, and then even lastly, contacting Esri Canada representatives themselves to have that chat with customers and to have a further conversation about what they would be looking forward to in the future.
Well, thanks so much for all that information, Jenny. There's definitely a lot of resources out there. I'm looking forward to your webinar. I'll be watching, and hopefully other people will too, because like you said, the time is now for the utility network. So thank you so much for being here, and hopefully we'll be able to speak to you on the podcast again in the future.
Sounds good. Thank you.
That was Jenny Fong, the team lead for Utility Technical Solutions Group at Esri Canada.